So much for joining us for this week on Martha's Vineyard. I'm your host, Emlyn Reed, and this week we have our top story is the fact that West Nile virus has been found in Edgartown. This comes as a big surprise. It was not here last year. It was found present in 2022. However, they have not been finding it in testing. Edgartown officials have committed to continuing to test to make sure that it's only in that one isolated area and to figure out making sure that it stays off island. It was also found, by the way, if you do travel back north to Boston, in Quincy, Cambridge, and several other areas. So make sure you wear that, bug spray, make sure you're taking care of yourself and watch for any of those symptoms if you do experience a bite. It's fever, dizziness. Make sure to just, really take care of yourself and be paying attention to the way that you are feeling if you do experience a bite in the Edgartown or Cambridge or Quincy areas. Today we're going to jump into some very special guests that we have here today. We have Dylan and we have Sam. Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
It's great to be here.
Thank you for having us.
So we want to kind of jump in and start talking about all that you guys are working on. I know you're an incredibly talented artist, and we also have, you're working at Midnight Taco, and you have so many talents, it's like hard to name them all. You have so many different passions that, we were talking about last night, how you're working on, doing acting and all of these other things. So I want to kind of dive into those passions for you guys and just talk about, why you love doing what you do and dive in deeper to those skills.
All right. Is there a preference for who goes first?
No, you go right ahead.
All right. Well, my name is Dylan Wallace. I'm a recent college grad. I was an illustration major, and although right now I very recently, a few months ago, just started a YouTube channel. Under the name Ginger Snapper. Basically, what it is I do movie and game reviews, and at the moment, right now, I have basically like a little cartoon version of myself that I animate over each video I do.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and I'm hoping, that that's just how it is right now. I want to something I also should have mentioned. I took some animation classes in school, and I want to see someday. I see myself combining turning that little cartoon character into a fully animated character. Maybe do some little animated skits between I actually just did that for the first time, really first time with my most recent video, where I don't know if you want me to go into detail about it.
Yeah, sure, please tell.
Basically, very recently, just a few days ago, I did a video, not on... You dropped your pen. I think today's the last day of Shark Week, isn't it? Yeah. Basically, I did a video. I was trying to time right with Shark Week. Although it's not a Shark Week video. It's a video. Basically, the joke is I've come up with an idea for a Shark Week show where I become a literal shark person. However, the video is me playing video games, where you play as a shark in order to learn to be a shark. That's the joke, basically. And I have the whole introduction where I've created I'm just my animated character sitting in a kiddie pool in a beach chair wearing a shark costume, just to get into the mindset.
Is that drawn out, or?
Yes, it's definitely, I was a bit on a time crunch trying to get it out for this year. So it's not totally Disney quality stuff. It's more just so it's more like a slideshow sort of animation sort of thing. But I think it gets the idea across, what I'm trying to get at. And who knows, I think it also just, the slight cheapness of it might just make it funnier. Yeah.
That's awesome, but it sounds like you've been, working really hard and it's just growing and honing your craft and really just...
Yeah, I'm starting out, so not all of my stuff is really getting a lot of traction. I'd say I have like it's a very small percentage of my channel so far has been like, I have 17 videos up right now, with it in the past few months, and only 3 of them so far have broken the 1,000 view mark. So I'm definitely trying to go into this channel with realistic expectations, because like, assuming it does become like more than just a hobby or something like that, it's gonna take a while, like long time probably.
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been reaching out to Dylan in the last couple of months about how to, work together and collaborate more, and Dylan has been so on his game that he's like, it's project after project, and he knows what he's working on, and he knows how to get it done in this amount of time, and there's a lot of forethought going into it. So when you say, you only have 2 videos that have broken 1,000 views, 1, that's a lot better than a lot of other people have done, and 2, I know you're naturally very modest, but I'd go as far to say that, this has become quite obvious that it's not a hobby, that this is like your passion, and it's, when you have a strong passion and you love what you're doing, it's only a matter of time before you succeed, and your biggest asset is that you're original.
Thank you.
Like, originality is, you just need viewership, and you're you're on the road to doing that because you're creating things people want to see and getting better at what you create.
And that's true for, your work as well. Can you share a little bit about, what you've been working on?
Absolutely. So Dylan and I are, have been in the restaurant business since we were pretty young. At like 15, 16 years old, we both started working at our parents' restaurant, and didn't quit after a couple of years. We've been in it pretty much up until now, where we've finally decided, as we're getting older, Dylan just graduated college, and we're getting to the point where we're ready to invest all of our time and energy into our passions. And I'm extremely grateful that Dylan shares a passion that I have as well in storytelling and connecting with people and sharing, how you see things and allowing other people to have that same viewership. But for I'm still running and managing a restaurant, and at the core of that, the only reason I'm there is because you are connecting with people, and it is, it's the way you socialize and the way you connect, where I find myself telling stories that I wouldn't have thought about if I didn't have those people around, or I wasn't in that situation. And at my core, I'm a writer, and to be able to tell those stories is almost as if I'm tasting it again, and that, that's so sweet for me, because it's all well and good to be in the moment and to think about all these things that we're going to do in the future, but it's also important to reflect and savor, like, oh, so many good things have happened, and maybe we should spend the time trying to tell all those great things that have happened. And the partnership that I see a future in with Dylan is that we have a lot of similar values and interests, but a different skill set, where he can do something that I could not even picture myself doing, because it's going to take not only a natural ability, but years of building your foundation and creating that work and rounding out those skills, sharpening your blade in a sense. Whereas, I'm a lot more of hands-on, partially being in front of the camera, partially directing the camera, whereas Dylan is, at his start now, a cartoonist and a commentator, where it's almost like we're starting on either end, and then we're meeting in this beautiful place in the middle, where when we really,
exactly,
when we're on the same page, it's really, really interesting things can happen. So it's that's all you want out of a partner, is what can you do that they can't do, and vice versa, and how do you combine that to make the most interesting product.
And And that's such an incredible team that you guys have. But it's something you, I think, have had for, your whole lives, working, together and in the restaurant business. Can we talk about a little bit more about, your parents' business and what brings you to where you are today over at Midnight Taco?
Yeah, absolutely. So Dylan and I both started working at the Sandbar when we were kids, practically.
Yeah.
And, year after year, we knew where we were going to be. And I decided to make a change after moving out to California this past winter. I moved to Hollywood and began, working on my career in the film and the entertainment industry. And my brother approached me about opening a new restaurant, more continuing the takeout restaurant he had the year prior. We got a lot of great feedback. People loved the food, and he had already kind of nailed down a product people wanted, but we moved across the street to open a full bar and a 49-seat restaurant with full dinner service. And that is more of the part that I've spent the last couple of years cultivating, learning how to do and learning how to perfect. Obviously, it's not perfect now, but I am getting closer. So I'm satisfied with the way things are, and I'm happy with all the work that I've put in. And at the end of the day, I want to be a creator, and I want to share things on it and share stories on a greater scale. And Dylan and I are only at the very beginning of our partnership, and we've yet to really dive in deeper to what it could be. But for right now, we're both very busy. He's kind of working on his individual craft and honing his skill. I'm still helping my brother and making sure that business does as well as possible. But I've already approached Dylan about it. Like, we might be in Hollywood together at the end of this year. You know what I mean? He's out of college. I don't have any winter plans other than moving back there. And when he told me he was pretty much hell-bent on making it in this career, in this field, and I'm thinking, I want the same thing. And to be able to do that with somebody that you've known your whole life, you care for and cherish and love. And that was my biggest problem about being out in LA, is I didn't really know a lot of people, and I'm spending a lot of time by myself. And even though that's good as a creator, you still want that camaraderie. And I think Dylan and I complement each other in a lot of ways. So at the end of this summer, I don't know. I mean, anything's possible for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I will admit, since you bring up the partnership, I think I can. This is something I can say on here. I am a bit guilty of. We've kind of been talking about it for a long while. Like since just a bit before the beginning of summer. That's reasonably long to me, at least. I'm a bit guilty of being a bit too focused on what I've been doing to really get in touch with him. But honestly, I think especially with my most recent video done, I don't have any particular videos in mind that I'm trying to make reach a certain deadline. I'm just right now I'm just gonna focus on anything goes, once or twice a month. This is a good wake up call for me, honestly. I think
me too.
if I think now is the time get a little bit more involved with stuff. You and we just have to brainstorm how we can contribute our skills together.
And Dylan and I were raised to a point where we always had the option of being able to stay here and continue to run our family's business and do it really well. But obviously, when you have a calling and a passion, you're a fool not to at least try that out and try your hand at it, especially when you enjoy doing it. So, I can't blame you for putting the blinders on and running straight, because right now he's perfecting his craft, and he's working on the technique, which at the end of the day, if you don't have the right technique, you're not going to have a competitive product. It's one thing to have an original idea, but plenty of people have original ideas. So you have to have the substance to be able to back it up. And I admire you for putting your full focus into that, and you are, you know, learning the trade and making the mistakes on your own. And I know when you're ready and you're, you know, the time's there and you feel more comfortable, it's, you know, things are just going to fall into place and we're actually going to be able to get some momentum. But for the time being, it's, you know, we're both working on our own personal strengths, and in the future we'll be able to combine those and have something that's got a lot of potential.
And that's such a beautiful thing. And I'll say, you know, already having that collaborative spirit and working together and, you know, working in the restaurant industry for some time, you can already see it, right? Like whenever we walked in, like for example, Colin and I last night, we went to Midnight Taco. That was so good. Like that house margarita was awesome. And then, you know, I got the steak tacos. They were delicious. And I love the way that you guys have that creative menu set up where you're like, okay, you know, when you go through and you look at the menu, it's not just like, you know, you can pick like pre-made tacos. You can build your own custom. So I want to kind of talk about that a little bit, where you guys really encourage creativity and for people to be their authentic selves, even in, you know, their food choices as well.
Totally. I mean, you know, the thing about good food is that it's all good, but we like people that like specific things, where we're going to give people a broad range of things to choose from, and then they can cater it to themselves, where it's, you know, it's not just pick the thing and get the thing. It's like, I don't want this on it, but I want this on it. The ability to mix and match kind of frees your mind from feeling so rigid. And, you know, like, we want to give people more choices, not less.
Yeah.
So if they have more choices, it's almost more exciting, where, you know, you're not going to get something like that at a lot of other places. So whenever you get something from us, it's special and, you know, unique. And then you end up starting to crave that kind of agency.
Yeah. No, that makes complete and total sense. And I want to talk about how, like, you know, the Wallace family has been doing, like, the restaurant business for years and years. And now you guys have, you know, Sandbar. You have Midnight Taco. You also have Midnight Mediterranean. So can you kind of talk through that, like, what that experience was like watching all that grow over the years?
Like, it's like, so something that we need to, even before Midnight Taco and Midnight Mediterranean, yeah, our fathers have been, I think, doesn't Sandbar predate both of us?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
I think
like,
so. like 99 maybe. Dylan and I were
at times it almost feels like the experience is that it just is. It's
born into it.
Born into it. I not to sound like not to sound like I'm bragging that, you know, our parents aren't we so lucky that we have restaurants.
All
but,
the dirty
you know,
work they're sending our way.
Yes.
You know, oh, you got to climb down through the septic tank,
Oh, boy.
or
Ooh.
somebody's got to empty the grease trap. We're the first people they turn to. You know, where they don't really expect. That's why, you know, growing up as kids, especially when we became like teenagers, working for our parents was just like a given, where it was almost weird to be able to work for somebody else, because our parents raised us, you know, our mothers had a lot to do with this as well, that when we're around, they know they can depend on us. My other cousin, his younger brother Michael, works at Budget, and I applauded my uncle for this. I'm like, you know, Mikey is very dependable, where when, you know, their kids are there, you feel like you have a sense of ease, and, you know, somebody that's in your corner that you trust, that you know is going to do the right thing, is going to be around to make sure that everybody else is doing that too. And that's, you know, having a family business, it comes with a lot of headaches, a lot of stress, and on your interpersonal dynamic, but at the end of the day, it's hugely rewarding, because there's that peace of mind, like, okay, my people are there. You know, I don't have to be there all the time.
And I feel like the community has definitely responded to this as well, because they feel that. You know, when you go into a business and you're like, okay, these are good people, this is good energy, like, they can feel it. Has it something that you guys have kind of noticed over the years engaging with the community?
I mean, I guess, like, what do you mean by, like, do you mean, like, across, like, different restaurants, different owners, and stuff like that? Because
yeah, because
I think from a guest point of view, I think it's a little bit harder to acknowledge. I think you really have to be a reoccurring customer to get a feel that it is a family business, and the people that are running it treat it like it's their own. But from a employee and colleague standpoint, I think the people around you really know how invested you are in it and how much you care, and naturally that starts rubbing off on other people and they start caring more too. That's one of the benefits of having your kids work in your business, because there's this elevated sense of camaraderie. Like, this isn't some corporation, this is, you know, something that this is our livelihood, and you know, this business is sending our kids, you know, their kids to college and things of that nature, and people naturally gain a respect for that.
awesome. Colin, can you show me that one more time? Oh, okay. So we're going to cut to the commercial break real quick. We will be right back after this quick little break. We've got about 10 more minutes, and we're going to just run a few commercials real fast.
For great American cuisine, visit 11th Circuit on Circuit Ave in Oak Bluffs. There you will find a welcome and friendly environment, indoor and outdoor dining, and the best locally sourced dishes on the island. 11th Circuit is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the hungry bar crowd. Next time you're in Oak Bluffs, come visit 11th Circuit on Circuit Ave.
Nothing says summer like Santoro Hospitality Group's restaurant on Martha's Vineyard. At Oak Bluff's Fishbones Bar and Grill overlooks the harbor, where you can enjoy a delicious Caribbean-infused meal. The Ocean View Restaurant and Tavern is a local favorite with great food, friendly service, and is open year-round. The Lookout Tavern offers diners unrivaled ocean views with creative cuisine including sushi, sliders, fish tacos, barbecue ribs, and more. When you're looking for the freshest catch of the day, visit the Net Result on Beach Road in Vineyard Haven. Shop at their seafood market or grab a bite to eat at the takeout window.
All right, and we are live back in. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us. So we want to talk about, you know, we were just talking about a story. Like, is there any one story that sticks out in your mind, and you know, it doesn't matter who goes first, but anything of your experiences over the years that you're like, wow, I'll never forget that this happened?
I think, I mean, it's not as much of a specific story as more like a timeline, where I remember being in college and knowing the summer was approaching, and I was pretty much on a race to hire all my friends to come work at the restaurant and live there in the summer, because it's one thing to, you know, enjoy the people you work around, but the agency, you know, and you know, knowing the management and knowing the ownership, you have a lot more leeway on who you have and who you can bring in. So I had brought in like a bunch of friends from school, and working with them and getting, you know, you meet these people out in this distant version of your life, right? And then they come to your home and to your business, your family's business, and they get to see your life in a completely different light and almost get to know who you really are and who, you know, where you've been. And, you know, I had friends working at the bar, I had friends waiting tables, bar backing, and you get this stronger sense of friendship, because not only are you together, but you're almost suffering together and you're struggling together, and it tightens your bond. And even though you get angry and upset with people, you still wash it off at the end of the day and think, wow, today was a great day. So I think building lasting friendships and connections through the restaurant industry, and, you know, working together as a team has had a lasting effect on my life, and it's taught me how to be a better friend. It's taught me how to be a better leader and an employer, and I wouldn't trade those memories and those, you know, places that I found myself in for anything.
Awesome. And how about you, Dylan?
Well, I will talk about this with the pretense of saying it's probably something a lot of people are very tired of hearing. So I might just be sounding like a broken record or whatever you might want to say. I don't know. Something that's been really on my mind lately is the whole obsession that's been kind of going on about AI. You know what I'm sure you two have heard of that. And as someone who's kind of a recent graduate of an art college, and say what you will about, because I know there are people out there who's are like, why would you pick that as a major? I'm just, if it doesn't work out, that's besides the point. Needless to say, I see myself as a creative person. He sees himself as a creative person, Sam here, and honestly, and I'm just hoping nothing bad at least, really comes of the whole generative AI and stuff like that. It does worry me. Sorry.
No,
It's,
that's okay. Yeah. No.
I as I say this, I just sort of feel like, oh man, I am just sound crazy to everybody watching right now.
Well,
It's
I think it's something that's fair to be concerned about, especially
Yeah.
working in your field. You see it,
it just seems, yeah, I'm a creative person, and you've seen like AI art, AI videos and stuff like that. It's pretty blatant. A lot of people are gonna see that as like a way to undermine actual human creativity and effort and stuff like that. They just want the cheap way out without having to put in effort for anything.
Einstein has a really great quote kind of in regard to this whole dilemma, and it's as simple, and I don't know it verbatim, but it's as simple as, in the age that we are slowly entering into, actually fairly quickly, that the logistical mind is starting to take prominence in the world we live in, and the intuitive mind is almost taking a back seat. And I see that the intuitive mind has such a much stronger relationship and connection to creativity, finding new places you want to go to, and kind of discovering what the future could be, that it's a lot more malleable than all of us really are aware of. And instead of just keeping the course, the creatives are the people that are thinking, how could it be better? How could we add to this? How could we make these things that we already have more interesting? And I think, that the AI is worrisome, because it's only taking that from everything that's been done.
Exactly.
And you're using that as a formula versus, the beauty of the human mind is that you can put all that aside and think of, all right, where do we want to go?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think about it this way, like I watch, I have a 3-year-old son, and it's like I watch my son when his mind just works so differently because he's so young. He hasn't learned yet that you're only supposed to go down the side. So I watch him like trying to climb up, like trying to go on the side, trying to swing, like his mind still has all that creativity. And that's one thing that, I had been reading a while ago that, like, yeah, a lot of times it can stifle creativity to keep kids sitting at a desk, like, all day in a classroom. And so you have to think of unique ways to just get them outside, get them playing, and let them really have that creativity as a child. And I think that's one thing that you guys are, kind of saying beautifully, like, we have to continue to encourage creativity in kids and just kind of watch. We can all take a lesson from them to watch how their beautiful little minds work to come up with, like, all these creative new ways of doing things that you're like, I would never think to do that because I've been so trained to go down the slide. I would never think it would be appropriate to, try to, like, monkey climb up the side of it. Like, it's...
Or climb up the slide.
Yeah. Yeah, it's things that they've been trained out of us at this point. So I think that you guys, have a really great point here that, like, we can all kind of take a lesson from them and just, continue to foster our creativity, do what you love, and just kind of, one quote I live by is be who you are, not who the world wants you to be.
Yeah.
And
Like, with the whole, exactly, with the whole, just, it's so prevalent now, this kind of technology of just, especially in a creative artwork sense, I really think it is definitely more important than ever than to just say teach your kids to actually imagine stuff, be creative, come up with ideas, whether it be like if they have like an idea for like a painting or a book, or I don't know, some way to give back to their community. That might be I don't
That's
know
what
if that's
we're
in the
trying to
same
do.
thing.
No, that it is. It really is, because like for example, last weekend I just went to this cornhole tournament that this kid created, like a whole cornhole tournament on Nantucket, because he's like, yeah, I just wanted to find a fun way to give back, and we like playing cornhole. It's exactly what you're saying.
Dude, that's awesome.
It's at the foundation of sharing and connection and knowing what it's like to be someone else without actually having to be them. You know, it's the root of empathy. And I think in our society that has to be cherished and, you know, counted above everything else. Because at the end of the day, we're all individuals, but we operate in a collective. So everything has to be thought of as how, you know, what is the best for the group, you know?
Yeah, and that's a great place that we are going to close today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And we will see you guys all next week here on Martha's Vineyard.
Thanks for
It
having
was
us.
great. It is great time, honestly. Thank you for
guys.
having
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you for being here.
Awesome show, guys.
All right.